Hello, my merciful brothers and sisters. It is I, MisterMercy, bringing you another video with some Overwatch gameplay. So I wanted to talk about what's possibly in store for the future of the Sombra ARG. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the Sombra ARG, you can check out my playlist of all the information regarding the Sombra ARG in the description below. I'll just put it down there when I go and upload this video. So let's get into this. What lies ahead for the Sombra ARG? Well, since my last video, momentincrime.com has kept going up by small fractions of a percent. I think it's like, what, like 0.003%, I think, about every 3 minutes. It's been doing this for the past, like, few days. And currently, momentincrime.com sits at a little over 10%. However, there was a little bit more information put up recently by Sombra, but it seems like she might be going dark for a while. She might cease communication with us for quite a while. And this clue comes from the source code for momentincrime.com. Now, it still has that first initial phrase in Spanish that we've already found, but since momentincrime.com has started going up by small fractions of a percent, another line of Spanish has been added to that source code, and it says,
Parece que se están calentando un poco las cosas. Tendré que pasar desapercibida mientras esto se finaliza.
So, translated into English, that says, quote, "It seems that things are warming up a little. Gotta go unnoticed while it completes." So this suggests that Sombra is probably going to stay quiet until her hack of the Omnics on Watchpoint Gibraltar is complete. Now, there's a theory currently going around that Sombra actually isn't going to be a playable hero at all, but instead the antagonist of a new game mode where you have to defend against like waves of Omnics. It's sort of like a horde mode. Now, people claim that the evidence that supports this theory has to do with two things. The first is the fact that Sombra is currently, of course, hacking into the Omnics on Watchpoint Gibraltar. What is she going to do with those Omnics? We don't know. People are assuming that it's maybe, you know, this sort of horde mode. And the second comes from other voice lines in the game that have been data mined that hint at some kind of like leveling system, like secondary leveling system that's not like part of the core game already. And you get like, you'll have some kind of like new gear to equip to heroes and stuff that they make comments about. So this kind of stuff is often a gameplay mechanic that is associated with many horde modes. And there's a lot of other evidence to support it, but a lot of the rest of it is just speculative. There's nothing really, you know, hard wired into the game. There's not a lot of hard evidence to support that. And personally, I don't really buy this theory for a couple of reasons. The first is the number 23. Now, it was speculated that the number 23 was significant because Sombra was going to be the 23rd hero of Overwatch. And if this was merely just a horde-type game mode that Sombra was involved in, then the number 23 just suddenly becomes meaningless. I mean, we know that it wasn't just a random number to decrypt the first message from Sombra, because Sombra herself acknowledged 23 in her forum post on Battle.net. The title of her forum post was the number 23 in binary, so we know it's significant to her, and, you know, so it's not just a throwaway kind of key to a code. So if that's the case, then where does that number fit into this horde mode? How does the number 23 like add to the significance, you know, of this horde mode? It doesn't. So that's one of the problems that I have with this theory. And secondly, there's other data mined voice lines from the game that talk about the unseen enemy, as well as, you know, Reaper's quote that says, "Where's Sombra when you need her?" So if this horde mode was just all Sombra was affiliated with, there's really no need for Reaper to be asking Sombra for help if he's one of the ones fighting the Omnics alongside all the other heroes. Because, I mean, I assume that, you know, if it was a game mode, you'd be able to play pretty much whatever hero you like, and that includes Reaper and other people affiliated with Talon. So you like, it's like, you know, why would Reaper be asking the antagonist for help to beat the antagonist? That doesn't make any sense. So, and not to mention, of course, you know, the unseen enemy quotes those have to be, that has to be a reference to a playable hero. There's just no other way to explain it that makes sense. Now, I'm not saying that, a horde mode that involves Sombra is a thing that's not going to happen. I think it could happen. I'm just saying that it's probably not going to be Sombra's only role in the game. When she's revealed, who's to say that she won't be a playable hero and, star in her own game mode? So she can be, a hero that you can play as in the existing game modes, and she'll also have her brand new exclusive game mode that, makes her, maybe it's like a 1v6 kind of a horde mode thing where Sombra is always played by the one player. And, so who's to say that, that's not going to be a thing? And plus, that would actually give the game mode theory more traction if you could actually play as Sombra activating the Omnics. Think about, it would be like a reverse, Dead by Daylight. I know I've talked about that game on this channel before, but it'd be like a reverse Dead by Daylight a little bit, because like a 1v5, 1v6 game mode where you, as Sombra, have to activate the Omnics around the map while, the other 5 players from the enemy team try to stop you. So that would make a lot of sense to me, but just having Sombra as kind of like a background figure to this kind of horde game mode where you're not really able to play her and she's just kind of in the lore of this mode, that doesn't make any sense. Plus, another thing that I didn't put down here in my notes that I'm going to mention is that would make a lot of what we've done to, crack Sombra's codes, it would all be meaningless, because people have been putting so much work into this because they believe that she's a hero, and if she turns out not to be a hero in the game, then people are going to feel extremely jaded and extremely pissed off, and they're going to think it was all a waste of time and effort, because people want her to be a hero. So I do anticipate that she will be a playable hero. Not to say that she won't have her own game mode too, but I do think that she's definitely going to be a playable hero in Overwatch. So when will Sombra finally be revealed? That's the big question we all want to know. Well, at the rate amomentincrime.com is going, Sombra's hack is scheduled to be completed on October 16th or October 17th of this year. However, I have a different theory, one I haven't heard many people suggest, and it ties in with the lore of this character even better than simply having her just be revealed on some random day in October. So what happens really depends on amomentincrime.com and how fast or slow it completes, but there's a couple ways this could go. If it continues at the rate it's going, and it completes on October 16th or 17th, I believe we'll hear from Sombra again, but she won't reveal herself. I don't think she's going to reveal herself just on some random day in the middle of October. I don't think that she'd do that. But she will tell us that we are getting closer to her reveal. And if you look back at her most recent message, she's kind of already hinting at that. She's telling us we are getting quote-unquote warmer by the way she phrased that first part. So she could speak to us on October 16th or 17th if that hack does complete then. But I think, what I think is most likely to happen is the following. So I believe that amomentincrime.com, as it nears October 16th or 17th, is going to start to slow down a bit. It's not going to be 0.003%. It may go down to 0.001% or something. Or we may, add more fractions to that, and it may just, I'm thinking it's probably going to go slower when it hits around October 16th or 17th. And it'll push the completion date of that hack by about 2 weeks. It'll push it back. Now, I believe that this hack will finally be complete on November 1st. Why then? Because November 1st is Dia de los Muertos, otherwise known as the Day of the Dead. Now, Dia de los Muertos is a Mexican holiday that focuses on celebrating loved ones who have passed away. Also, on Dia de los Muertos, it is customary for people to make decorative skulls made out of sugar to represent those who have passed on, often with intricate detailing around the eyes, just like Sombra's signature ASCII skull. But that's not the only significance of this date to Sombra, because just 3 days after Dia de los Muertos on November 4th in Anaheim, California, it's BlizzCon. Blizzard's biggest event of the year, where lots of big reveals happen. So I believe that Sombra will speak to us one last time on Dia de los Muertos to tell us that she is ready to be revealed, and that during the opening ceremonies of BlizzCon, just 3 days later, she is going to hack in to BlizzCon and officially reveal herself as the 23rd character of Overwatch. But that's basically all I had to say on the matter. What do you guys think about Sombra? Let me know in the comments below. When do you think she's going to be revealed? What do you think about this horde mode and everything? And that's all I had to say. So remember, if you liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. Subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, I'm MisterMercy. Peace, everyone.